Let's investigate some take-and-play nonsense. A scrap monster's not as scary as a Lego clown. I'm pretty sure Lego can't do amazing brick sets like this one. And Mr. Blender will come out and do a Toy Town blend, putting 3 brick companies to the ultimate test. The results will cause controversy and send shockwaves through the brick building community. Let's do it. Well, howdy do to YouTube. If you missed episode 1, the things you would have missed is a great unboxing of goodies from Beanmeister22. He's a long-term friend of mine on YouTube. Hey, I finally got a Wally-Roo. I forgot to sing the cleanup song, unfortunately. You also missed one of the most epic blends you're going to see on YouTube. I actually put a Mallard model, one of the great steam locomotives, if not one of the greatest in the world, through the blender, and unfortunately the Sunbeam blender finally died. But I'll tell you what, that Sunbeam blender took a ton of punishment before it busted. I'm going to get into the box there. We're going to have a bit of a chat about some of the toys that we didn't cover in part 1. I'm going to certainly talk about that Thomas toilet seat. I love it. I love it a lot. Going to talk about a few things over there. Going to build one of the Airfix kits, the brick kits in this one, I promise you that. And you're probably wondering, well, you haven't got a blender now. Well, I do actually. I've got a backup one here. It's not really the one I'd like to have. It's an Aldi one, and we'll see how long this one lasts. And if you don't know by now, I'm actually fairly crazy. Anything could end up in this blender in this video. Okay, we are going to kick off with a fairly serious discussion about the Thomas & Friends Take and Play toy. The one on my hand here is of course the #1 engine, Thomas the Tank. It's a later version because I can tell by the wheel style here. It's got the pinwheel axles, which are similar to what you'll find in the Hot Wheels car. But I know for a fact this toy is a classic toy. And I say that because I've seen the way these are played out with both of my children. It's a bit of a lighter toy these days. They've taken a few metal pieces away from this. The front boiler part is now plastic. But hey, I actually don't mind the toy being lighter. There's a bit of a move going on with Take and Play toys. They are now changing the magnet styles. The magnet here actually works both ways with this Thomas. You can put characters on and face them either way on either end of this train. And that was part of the magic of this little toy. But sadly, things are changing. Well, there I have a merry mix of Take and Plays. There are some of the brand new ones at the time of making this video. There's some old classics here as well. And there's actually quite a few changes going on when you look across those models. But I'm actually curious to how they will pull along one of the older wagons. And that is a wagon with a magnet that works both ways. Well, let's come in and give Diesel 10. It's an old classic of my son's. You can see how well loved it is because of the fact all the paint's nearly off it. See the way it's coupled up there and the way it's pulling that wagon? No problem at all, Diesel 10. You're doing a fine job. But what if we give the new kid on the block a bit of a spin, and that's Gator. He's meant to be really useful, isn't he? Okay, Gator's coming up the shunt with that wagon there, and he's connected. Can you see a problem going on? Doesn't look good at all, does it? Oh, maybe you have to spin the wagon round. Oh, Gator, how silly of you to, couple up to the wrong end. Oh, looks like the same problem at that end as well. What's the story here? Maybe the problem here is Gator. Let's get someone who knows how to really haul some wagons. Let's get Timothy in. Oh, come on. What's going on here? Okay, let's turn the wagon around. Might be a problem with these magnets, eh? Oh, that's not very nice, is it? You're not coupled up properly. You're dragging it along, but you're not pulling it in line. Well, via the infinite wisdom of a very large and wealthy toy company, we've been given magnets that are basically dumb. The clever, smart two-way magnets have gone on these newer models, and I really feel this is a very poor decision to be made. As for why that decision was made, I can only assume it is to cheapen up the model to make it a cheaper toy to produce. So don't upset the apple cart too much. Let's try out a whole bunch of different various trucks with the new magnet. Okay, coming with an old classic troublesome truck. Now it's pulled to the side. Okay, another metal Sodol one. Well, that's one we already had from the start. We know that doesn't work. There's another one. No, pulled to the side. Here's the Orchard one. Looks like it's pulled to the side. It's not as bad as the other ones. That looks pretty straight to me, that one. Bit of surprise. Here's one of the lightweight newer ones. Actually seems alright. Maybe these little light plastic ones are the way to go. Or maybe not. try this one here. It's one of the older classics. I've got a lot of the older ones, strangely enough. It seems like they're real trouble with this newfangled magnet system. Now, off to the side. You gotta love this, don't you? There's one of the lightweight ones. Sort of doing it. Well, sort of. It's a bit better. It seems to be those little plastic lightweight ones don't pull to the side as much. Gator's a great new character. It's interesting, my son, when he saw this toy, thought it was a diesel for the fact that it doesn't look like your normal Steamy. Thomas the Brave movie is fantastic as well. It reminded me a bit of a Scooby-Doo-ish aspect to it, but when I see this with toys where they want to repel each other, I mean, give me a break, guys. Maybe someone out there can tell me exactly why this was done. I bet you no one can. I bet you, I'd love Mattel to come along and say, hey Leo, this is why we did this, blah blah blah. You know, are they brave enough to tell me what's going on here? Or maybe can we have this play out to our advantage, and let me show you how. In Thomas the Brave, Gator's like the scary new thing. It's played out in the story. I can't tell you too much or I'll give the story away. Maybe we can play out a scene like this where Gator's coming along. Toad's so scared. Look at this, he's backing away from Gator. Oh, who's that? Oh, run away, run away. The other thing that is going on, and I actually speak about this in a video you haven't seen because of the problems I've had on YouTube, you will see it one day, is that if I look at this 2008 model here of Diesel 199, do you remember when the wheels used to do that? It was sort of fancy, wasn't it? It was a nice little feature, but also look at the length of this model as well. In this 2013 Diesel 261, it was very nice to see this reappear. There was just something when I had this in my hands, I thought there's something very different about this, and it's the fact that the wheels don't turn. And it's not until you line up this against, let's say, the other diesel there, you start to see there is some big changes going on. There's basically been quite a radical downsize. Very clever downsize, but nevertheless, there have been changes. Here's the old classic Diesel 10, and again, you start to see just how much shorter these new models are. So it's been interesting. There's been these little incremental changes. We saw the pinwheel axles appear. This has still got the older style magnets. It's shorter in length, but overall it just seems like somebody is coming along and shrinking the Thomas the Tank franchise. But there may be some people who argue, well, let's take a look at the 2008 Chinese Dragon. It's a wagon, but it had the straight through wheels. There's no separate bogies on this. I suppose if you line up the length here of the axles there, that diesel's shorter, isn't it? The wheel sets. So it just really feels like there's been a shrinking going on. Although you look at Marion here, a great character, this one. It's longer in wheelbase. You'd sort of think it'd be nice if she had her own individual bogies going on, but of course she doesn't. My son loves that model there. And the one he really loves is this Scrap Monster. I think this is one of the all-time great designs we've seen come along. It's sort of drab, but it sort of works. It's a crazy looking thing. Wheel sets there, it's a bit shorter, isn't it? It's a bit like Diesel. It's going to be the same as this one, I think. Is that right? Ooh, close-ish to Diesel 261. Very close. It's a little bit longer where the wheels are set. I think this Scrap Monster is fantastic. It's a bit of a drab toy, but I think anyone who grabs this one will be happy with it. I grabbed a few of these because I think it'll be a hard one to find in the future. It's funny, the Rusty Stevens never sold, but I think this drab one will. It's just got that sort of toy mojo, I think, that works. And just on thinking of colour and shape, Gator here is interesting because I used to always say that being green, you know, it was always hard being green, and green wasn't popular. Like, well, Gator's green. I've got a funny feeling he's very popular. But I think with Gator, it's his shape. He's different looking to the other engines, and that's explained in the story. We're not going to give the story away, are we, Gator? No. But my son absolutely loves Gator as well, and really enjoyed understanding why he is different. And before I push these models away, let me grab these chuggers that we purchased at Toys R Us the other day. My son was very keen when he saw these. Let me drag my son down here and see if he can name these versus some of these new characters from the Thomas and Friends franchise. Anyway, the video where my son has a bit of a name challenge with these toys will become a separate video because it would totally clog up this one and blow it out to being too long. Let's push the toy trains away. Whooshka! And let's talk about this toy here next. Okay, who out there knows Rory the Race Car? Maybe you don't know. It's basically a children's show, and there are some K'NEX toys that my son saw in, of all places, the Reject Shop. I didn't write the price of what I paid for these. It wouldn't have been very much, but there is one feature in these toys that I really like, and it's sort of hidden underneath. So that's, I think, the tin top building set. That one's Rory, and that one's Maxi. I think it's their car names, but we'll take a look at this American styled one. And it's basically a very, young age brick building set. Connects is sort of like Lego, sort of like Mega Bloks. They're all sort of the same. It's a very simple build. There's only a few components to this, but the part that impressed Daddy, apart from having its main wheels here, which spin, it's got another set of wheels underneath here. And guess where these wheels work? Oh yeah, you won't believe this. It runs on wooden railway track. It's all because of that little trolley wheel underneath there. I mean, I'm sure you could spin this over to be the road, because we've got the Thomas track here, and tin top, hope that's the name, can run down the road. And that little feature there can be taken off. You don't have to have that wheel set on there. You can run it around without it. I think that's just great to see that sort of cross-compatibility on a toy. It's sadly, you just don't see enough of it. A really easy build. My son loved putting those together, and each set came with a few little accessories as well, which are on screen right now. I just found one of the build sheets. You can see how basic it is, and the accessories there, and down the bottom there was the bit I was just talking about. There's Rory on the wooden railway track. And the other really nice feature is, I think, that when Rory's done for the day racing, he can go back and park so easily into the packaging he was delivered in. I have to admit, Daddy was very impressed with this toy. It was a bit of a curious find. My son sort of spotted it. I haven't seen this Kid Connects before, really, and it was from the Reject Shop. As I said earlier, Reject Shop tends to sometimes have toys that don't land anywhere else in Australia, and I didn't know that. Looks like Connects is an American company. And the other part I didn't know after reading this is that Rory the racing car is sort of part of Hit Entertainment. So Rory's a close cousin of Thomas the Tank. Okay, let's put Rory the racing car back in his garage. It was very nice to see you, Rory. My son loves you. I'm sort of feeling a bit bored. You know what? I think it's time for a blend. Oh, here's my LD blender. One wonders how long this one's going to last. My Sunbeam one was killed by Mallard. Long story. It's another video. Oh, I better look for the warranty card. I'll need that, I think. I just don't tell them I put toys through it. I better test my blender. Oh, sounds like a bit of a rattly one. And today's blend's going to be quite different. Bricks in the blender, take 2. Mark it. Okay, for today's Toy Town adventure, here's what's going in the blender. There are 3 different brick companies: Lego, Mega Bloks, and Best Lock. There's the Trash Pack guys, there's some Zombie Zitties, and there are some Squinkies, Disney Cars 2 characters. Okay, let's load up the blender. This is actually take 2. I did a massive stuff up on take 1. Some saw it. You can have a bit of a giggle, can't you? And there you go. And let's not forget these little guys here, and they are purely just for a bit of fun, a bit of visual entertainment. Okay, the blender is loaded. On with the lid, and the GoPro is up there. You have to turn it on, and I'll give this a blend for just over a minute. On today's blend, we'll be hitting full power. We'll be going up to number 5. And remember, boys and girls, do not attempt this with your mum's best or her worst blender. One Toy Town smoothie coming up. Have a full power. It's looking pretty colourful in there. It's starting to smooth out as the patterns get smaller and smaller. Wow, it's a rainbow. Okay. I think that's going to prove our point. yeah, it's always interesting how blenders deal with things. Looks like a big mess, doesn't it? But the point of all this is I want to see which of the bricks has broken up the most and which has broken up the least. Oh yeah. And to pay homage to Blendtech, who do the best blends on YouTube, here we go. You know what I'm going to say here, don't you? Oh, Toy Town smoke. Don't breathe that. At the moment, it's looking like a beautiful piece of art. So what I'm going to do is sort this mess out. I'll pull the different brick companies apart from this pile. I'm really only interested in larger pieces. I'll also pull the toys out and we'll see who has won. Well, I'll be straight up front about this. I did this twice because the first time I did this, I actually put a non-Lego brick in the mix by accident. A very good YouTuber who actually watches my whole videos pointed this out. Basically, as a proofread just as it went up onto YouTube. Thank goodness he pointed it out to me. So I've had to go back, remake the section. But I tell you what, I think I'm going to get the same results as I did on the first blend, and it's going to send shockwaves through the brick building community. Okay, let me come through and explain these divided piles. This first pile is stuff which is so small it's not worth dividing down any further. I am looking for the larger pieces that survive the blend. That pile there is the Trash Pack guys, and they have been totally trashed. That pile there is the Zombie Zitties, and they have seen far better days. Those guys there are the Disney car squinkies, and they've done a pretty good job at surviving the blender. And those three piles there are our three brick companies. Do you remember which colour represented which company? I'll throw a title up to remind you. And considering this is the second time I've done this, this is a very similar result. And actually Lego would have been better off having a non-Lego brick in the pile, I feel, as it did on the first blend that no one will see now. Okay, these two piles, Lego is here, Mega Bloks is here. I'm looking for the larger particles. I can see in the Mega Bloks pile there's some nice larger particles there. There's another one there. I'm just not seeing that over here on the Lego side. There's a particle there. There's a couple of studs on it. But the rest of it has really broken up. I can't really see any major sides to bricks which have survived. You know, you might say that's almost, you know, even Stevens there. I would possibly just give Mega Bloks a higher score. Only just. Well, on screen there is the Mega Bloks pile and Best Lock of all things, and this is actually the same result as the first time I blended. Best Lock presents the whole sides of bricks. They don't seem to get cut up and broken up in the blend, which is something that the other bricks don't seem to pull off. This is nothing about brick set design or anything. This is purely about putting bricks into blenders and just seeing which ones can survive the most. It's quite curious, this. The fact that I've done it twice and I've sort of got a very, very similar result. There's a top of a brick there of the Best Lock series. Very interesting indeed. Maybe I'll put the Best Lock pile hard up against the Lego pile. Let me set that one up. Well, there's Lego and there's Best Lock, and you can just see how different the particle sizes present. There's another big piece of Best Lock there. Very interesting. I know people will be saying all sorts of things about this. There's been nothing taken away, nothing added to this. What you see is what you get. And here's maybe another way of looking at it. Here are the three largest pieces I can pull from each pile. There's a corner of a brick from the Lego pile. There is a center of a brick from the Mega Bloks pile, and this looks like the center of a brick from the Best Lock pile. Well, I'm not sure what any of that proves, but maybe it'll have you thinking about which one of these is the stronger brick. Well, let me push all this brick, blah blah, blending stuff away, and let's have a chat about what's inside this wondrous box. Okay, what I'm going to do here is condense this review and have a standalone view looking at this Airfix brick set, because these brick sets are amazing. In fact, this is one of the better toys that I looked at during 2014, and I'm a very harsh marker when it comes to toys. The company behind Airfix is Hornby, and that's an English company, and I tell you what, when they get it right, it's a beautiful thing. And this brick set is amazing. One very interesting fact about this brick set is that it's not made in China or India. It is made in the UK, and maybe that's why it's so good. Let's hope this sends a very strong message to Hornby to pull your manufacturing back to the UK. And now we have our steckles on. The sticker decals, I actually got that one from my son. You'll see that in another video one day. This aircraft looks stunning. This is one of the best little toys that I've had come through my workshop in a very long time. Whoa, look at it flying! Okay, let's get it out of the way. It's something my son actually found in Kmart. There's a whole bunch of new Thomas the Tank merchandise, and this is one of them. It's Thomas and Friends Soft Potty, and probably the best aspect of this thing here is, apart from the handles and the fact that Thomas is on the seat, is down here it goes, beep, beep. You know, my son wants me to put this back up into the house. He really doesn't need it, but I think it's just for the fact that you can sit on Thomas while having a little peep peep, is what it's all about. I didn't write the price on this, strangely enough. Normally I write the price on this sort of stuff when I pick it up. Kmart. A whole bunch of Thomas stuff. There was this thing here, and I finally worked out what this is. It's a shampoo rinser. You see that? So it's got a soft thing here for the head. I never had these luxuries when I was a kid. There's Thomas there. Man, Thomas in the bathtub. How much fun is that? I mean, I just used to remember getting cut in the head with like a hard bowl. I mean, kids have got it so soft these days. There's a Thomas bath mat here. It's actually, the merchandise is interesting because I've got stacks of it that you haven't seen yet. I want to present more merchandise videos. And I think the stuff to get, the early stuff is the collectible stuff. In a funny way, it's probably worth more than the toys if you're looking at it in that aspect. But it's sort of nice. There was also a stand. I think my son wants all this back in the house. Like, he doesn't need this, but I think it's just the fact that Thomas is on it. He's got the artwork there, no. I call those the IKEA stands because I quite often see those sorts of things in IKEA. And the old kitty harness. I mean, this is one I love because it sort of pulls off as a nice little Thomas model as well. It's the sort of thing, I remember when I was a kid, I needed one of these because I was wild. There it is on the back. Instead of a monkey on your back, you got Thomas, and there's a strap going to your master. The old kitty harness. You gotta love it. Well, I've had a bit of a reformat of the back there. We're getting through things a little bit too slow, I feel. Next thing I'm going to do is open up the second box that Beanmeister22 sent me, all the way from the USA. Let's do it. Okay, here's my plan of attack, considering this video is getting far too long and my attention span data has been shocking. I'm going to pull one thing out of this box and we'll leave it as a cliffhanger to see the rest of what's in this box. Let me reach in there and let me grab something. It feels like a box. A box covered in bubble wrap. This space is killing everyone, isn't it? Oh, I wonder what this is. You know, doing that blender stuff, end up chewing up a fair bit of time. A lot more than I ever expected. This looks like, I think I just saw the Lego flash by. Oh yeah. What is this? A minifigure birthday set. I have never seen this before. Definitely never seen it before. Who has seen one of these? For table decoration only. The Beanmeister's pretty cluey. He must have realised it's just been my children's birthdays, because there's been a bit of birthday boogie in these boxes. But let's take a look at this one. This looks sort of interesting. Okay, what's it telling me? 6 years plus, 31 pieces. We don't see this in Australia normally. That's not part of the deal. These is what is inside this box. Maybe Beanmeister's sending me some cryptic messages to get back into Lego. I dumped looking at Lego after I had some ridiculous legal issues with them, which everyone, I'm not going to go over that story again, but you should know that from looking back at some of my videos. Okay, let's see what came out. There is this multi-language thing, which is basically just saying for table decoration only. If you like to learn languages, you can weasel your way down that. I'm not going to do that in this video. There is this thing here that would seem like it goes over the top of something else. There is something here which looks like the base plate to this, with something sticky. If I take that off, if it says 3M, it means it's going to be sticky, doesn't it? I've never seen anything like this. I've never even heard of this. Looks like something, if it's your, you can celebrate your birthday or, I don't know, a soccer win or something, and the number's there. This, of course, is your bricks in this. Going to get the Lego fans talking, isn't it? They're going to be talking because of what they saw, which went on in the blender earlier in the video. I mean, that was just amazing. And here is the instructions to this very, very different sort of Lego set. And I will quickly put it together. Well, I'm not going to put any stickers on there. Here it is made. It is actually a very nice looking set. Remembering this is for a cake decoration. Well, there are the minifigs. Obviously, there's a clown there with a horn. It's meant to be holding a cake that's on the bottom there. You can't see at the moment, but the cake would basically cover the clown. Little girl there is quite nice. You can put a sticker on her if you want. There's also a little boy's wig if you are going to have a little boy's celebration. Along the front of the decorator, there is the cake that the clown can hold. There is, I dare say, a gift with a bit of wrapping on top. That's the little boy's wig there. And I dare say that's another gift. And I couldn't show this to my daughter because she suffers from clown phobia. All in all, a stunning little and very different sort of Lego set. Well, considering the brick toys that have been featured in this video, maybe I could use something like this as a thumbnail. Or maybe a picture like that. Watch out, Lego, Airfix is after you. I'm sorry to leave it as a cliffhanger. I know this video would have just been getting far too long. I know people can't handle the long videos. I know that from the data from my videos. We'll do the box in the next episode. It'll be like part 3. I still haven't disclosed the price. These are being dumped out in Australia and it's below $15. Well below $15 per box. We're going to talk about those Trackmaster ones there in the next one. If I remember, we're going to talk about that toy there, which is very interesting as well. There's a bit of an insight into the future, I feel. We're going to take a look at that Mega Bloks set there, which is curious. The Plains Pez that I haven't got around to yet. And we're going to have a little chat about all the Frozen stuff, the knockoff Frozen stuff, which is now completely flooding the shops in Australia. And if you missed the first unboxing, the Beanmeister sent me over Wally Roo. He can now star on my channel. He's got a Hawaiian shirt on now. He's not naked. He was a bit paranoid before because he was totally naked. And I'm going to get Wally Roo to sign off for us. Wally Roo, can you sign off, please? Okay. Thanks for watching, and bye for now. Can you also sing us a bit of the clean up song? Okay. Clean up, clean up. Clean up, even in your underwear. Did I say underwear? Bye. Ah, silly Wally Roo.